let's talk about leadership a little bit. I watched your video on YouTube. Yeah, it's how to step up and lead. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've always been fascinated by the idea, like we're engineers, right? So I've always been fascinated by the idea that you could, programmatically figure out ways to take people and turn them into leaders. And that talk is really kind of my best effort at all of the different tools and operational techniques that I've deployed over the years to try and systematically give people leadership opportunities, encourage them to take those opportunities, and then give them the kind of safety net to succeed or fail. That talk is called Ignite the Fire, and the purpose of it really is something that I'm passionate about. Like, can we figure out a way within any organization at any scale to systematize creating new leaders? When I was at Reddit, this is really what kind of triggered me thinking about this heavily, because I remember I had a conversation with Steve, the CEO, and he was like, Nick, we're scaling so quickly, and I remember when the company was only like 20 people, like you could count on every single one of them to step up with any new challenge that would emerge. You know, uh, Anyone on the floor would step up and try and take it on. But as the company passed like 100 people, 200 people, et cetera, you don't see that as much. And you can expect that to be the case. As a company expands, you have roles and responsibilities, you have different swim lanes that people are supposed to own. It's less and less likely that your CTO is going to be personally handling sales calls, for example. So as a company gets bigger, it's necessary that you do kind of carve out swim lanes, and ownership gets distributed in a different way. But the downside of that is I think you do lose this feeling that anyone on the floor could step up if they wanted to. And the talk is really about ways to encourage that. So trying to make sure that you always present people opportunities to step up, like have a systematic way in which you collect and present those opportunities to people within your organization. Two, try and as you present those opportunities, think of ways to align them with things that people might be passionate about. I think like you see leaders emerge when there's a business need combined with something that an individual might be passionate about. You start to get into this, what I call blue flame, the intersection of business need with something someone is passionate about. You intersect those two things and great things happen. And then the final thing is to make sure that they feel safety in taking those risks. Like the number one inhibitor for people stepping into a leadership role, it's fear of failure. And like study after study has shown that. But if you're in a leadership role, you can actually help reduce that fear by sponsoring projects, or making people feel that, hey, look, like an executive is backing me. And that means that, like, good or bad, I'm going to get to take a fair swing at whatever this problem might be. Um, so I think it's a really relevant talk. I think, if you haven't seen it, go check it out, because ultimately a leader's job is to make new leaders, and that shouldn't be like a abstract idea. I think it can be really done programmatically and embedded into the fabric of how we run our organizations.